Hello, it's Saturday, January 5th, and I'm back with my 2 cents. I took a couple weeks off for the holidays, and I'm back. The news never stops, however. There's a new book out now. It's called Fire and Fury. I haven't read it, and I don't plan to, but it's a book about supposedly the first year in the Trump administration, apparently written by Michael Wolff. Uh, Detailing how every single person in the Trump administration thinks Trump is mentally unfit. Trump is stupid. Trump is a moron. Trump is mentally unfit for office, and that everybody hates him. So we got that going for us in the country, which doesn't bode well for the last, four presidents or so, since the country seems to be rolling along pretty well with this mentally unfit, deficient, moronic president we seem to have, according to this bonehead Michael Wolff. Uh, it's a little over 14 months since he was elected, almost a solid year since he's been in office. Uh, by all economic indicators, the economy is booming. He passed his tax cut, which should even boost that economy even further in the next year, couple, 3 years. Growth, GDP should all flourish like it did under the Reagan tax cut, like it did under the JFK tax cut. Corporate, especially the corporate tax cut, should bring more investment, bring more jobs. I'm not an economic major. I'm not a major in anything, but it only makes sense that companies they're not gonna burn their extra money. Okay, they're going to spend it. They're going to invest it. It's going to get spent. Uh, you're going to talk to people that are anti-Trump, and they're going to tell you, oh, these companies are all giving these employees their bonuses. They don't. That's nothing. That doesn't mean anything. Well, it kind of does. I mean, it's more money put into the system. The more money put into the economic system, the more it grows. I don't, it only makes sense to me. I don't know. I mean, what do they think these people are going to do with their money? Even if they put it in the bank, it still works. Even if they bring that money from overseas back over here, it still works for this country instead of another country. So, there's your anti-Trumpers out there, and they're never going to be happy. So, uh, I've debated many people in the last year about different things, and I've come to the conclusion that a large number of liberals, not Democrats necessarily, but liberals, they're brainwashed. I mean, it's like a cult. I mean, they are completely buying into the kind of fanaticism that's been spread by the likes of Schumer and Maxine Waters, and these people are nuts. I mean, the tax cut, for instance. Now, anybody with a high school diploma, even anybody with an elementary school education can do the math. It is, in fact, a tax cut for most of the middle class, and um, you know, just about everybody. I did the math. It's a tax cut for me, and I don't make a tremendous amount of money. I'm not rich by any stretch of the imagination. I'm probably, middle class. I don't even know, maybe lower middle class. I'm not. I don't know what the classes are, to be honest with you. But it's a tax cut. But you can't. I mean, these people, they're telling you that your taxes are going to go up. Well, people are going to find out in February when the new tax tables start withholding from your paycheck under the new percentages. People are going to see exactly what they were taking home before the tax cut to what they're taking home after the tax cut. And then then they're going to know that they've been lied to. So I don't understand. And then they'll throw it at you. Well, those tax cuts are temporary, where the corporate tax cuts are permanent. You know why that is like it is? It's because the Democrats would not participate. They could not get 60 votes, which is what they need to withstand the filibuster. So they had to go through what's called in the Senate, what's called reconciliation, where they need 51 votes to pass something. But to do it under reconciliation, they had to it had to be revenue neutral, and it had to have an expiration date on it. Now, when these tax cuts take effect, and the economy starts to boom, was it 2027? I think it's 10 years life on this tax cut. It's it Any president that wants to go back to the old levels, whoever's president in 2027, will probably immediately be criticized for it. As a matter of fact, I understand Rodney Davis from Illinois has already proposed legislation to make these tax cuts permanent. Now, if the Democrats want to vote against it, now they're going to be on record for voting against it, making them permanent. So now they can't use that for an excuse. They will come up with anything to tell you it's bad. It's very, very bad. Anything Trump does is bad. He could cure cancer tomorrow, and they're going to scream, yeah, but he didn't do a damn thing about heart disease. Look at all the people that have heart disease. Trump don't care. He don't care. Don't care about heart disease. He just cares about cancer because his family had cancer. He don't care about heart disease because nobody in his family had heart disease. That's the kind of people you're dealing with here. He's had a pretty strong run the first year. He and I was just curious exactly what he'd done, so I kind of did some research on it. Jobs and the recovery. He passed this tax reform bill, and what's the big thing in that is he repealed the Obamacare mandate. That makes a big difference to people that cannot afford Obamacare to begin with, and then they got to pay a tax on top of it when they can't get it because they can't afford it, and then they got to pay the penalty for not having it. It's ridiculous. The GDP's increased above 3% the last 2 quarters, probably the last 3 quarters once they figure in this most recent quarter. It's created about close to 2 million jobs. Unemployment's down to 4.1%, lowest it's been in 17 years. Dow Jones is at 25,000. I guess it's not a huge indicator, but it's a pretty good indicator of confidence. People are confident. They're confident that the economy is going to be around and strong for a while. Black unemployment it's at a historic low. African American unemployment is at a historic low, 45-year low, I think they said, or some along those lines. Something that you'll never ever hear anybody on the left ever say, because they absolutely, positively have to have the black vote, and they know it. So they're never going to say Trump did anything good for them. In fact, they're going to try and vilify him. He got rid of all these job-killing regulations, and that's what did it. He has cut so many regulations that businesses, just hamstrung businesses from even startups, even startup businesses. They just can't do it. They can't afford to do it. Can't afford to pay all the regulatory fees and all the different types of hoops they have to jump through just to do business. So that's what did it. Fair trade. He's pulled us out of the Trans-Pacific Partnership, trying to renegotiate NAFTA. He wants fair trade. He wants to make sure that China is not cheating on the trade, which they are. I don't understand trade, but apparently they, manipulate the numbers, manipulate the currency. These are things he's never gonna get credit for because he's mentally unfit and, a moron. Uh, he's boosted our energy dominance. By cutting regulations, he's allowed, this pipeline, the Keystone pipeline to go through, and some offshore drilling, the kind of jobs Americans, high paying jobs Americans can get now. Um, a lot of the EPA type rules. Now that doesn't mean that we're gonna, go back to the era of smog and pollution. No, no, that's not what it means. But it also means that we're going to be smart about it. We're not going to every single thing that you have to quadruple check, and all these regulations that just puts a halt to any kind of innovation. Uh, he's gotten rid of that. It's there's still regulations. There's still common sense regulations. You don't have to go overboard with it. And it only makes good business sense for these companies to be careful with how they do their environmental type business, because quite frankly, I mean, they still run the risk of being sued. They still run the risk of all kinds of action against them. So now the big thing that Trump has done in uh, his first year, he's trying to protect the homeland. He wants to get rid of this chain migration. He wants to get rid of this lottery system that brings terrorists over here on a lottery, which is ridiculous. These DACA kids, they talk about kids. These are adults. Number one, they were kids when they were brought here, apparently. But I got no problem working with these people. But we're not gonna just let them give them amnesty and let them become citizens just because. Okay, there's gotta be some give back here. Okay, there needs to be a border wall, and that's what he wants. He wants a border wall. He wants some changes to immigration. He wants immigration reform. Everybody wants that. And here in Illinois, one of the big guys for one of the big politicians that's, I guess, wants these illegals to be able to flow into this country whenever they feel like it, is Dick Durbin. He needs to go. Here in Illinois, we need to get rid of Dick Durbin. Period. He needs to go. We need to get the wall built. He's gotten rid of all. He's not all, but I mean, he's gotten rid of a large portion of MS-13 illegals that commit heinous crimes in this country. He's done what previous presidents refused to do. Now, what he really did that upset a lot of people for some reason, and it's something that every president says they're going to do, and they don't do it. They promise they're going to do it in the campaign, they don't do it. He moved our embassy to Jerusalem. Or the plans are in the works now, and we're moving. We're definitely moving to Jerusalem. Every president since what, the mid 90s, I guess, every single president has said they're going to put the rightful embassy in the rightful place in Jerusalem, the capital of Israel, and they don't do it. They don't do it. They lie to you. Trump doesn't lie. He said he was going to do it. He did it. There's got to be something to be said for people who do what they say they're going to do. Now, I know that's hard for liberals to understand because the politicians they support never do what they say they're going to do. Accountability, judges. I mean, this is where Trump has really made a splash. He's nominated a ton of judges to the appeals courts, 73 of them, I think, along with one to the Supreme Court, Neil Gorsuch, that are going to interpret the Constitution as it's written and not as they want it to be. Judges aren't there to make law. Judges are there to interpret the law, interpret the Constitution, tell you what it says. They're not there to rewrite it. They're not there to make law. That's Congress's job. They're there to interpret it. And for too many administrations, even Republican administrations, We've put judges in there that think that they make law, and they don't make law, they interpret law. He's called for, another thing Trump's done, a lot of people don't realize, he's called for an audit of the Pentagon and its spending, and really a government-wide type audit, which is needed, because in a lot of cases we don't even know where the money's going. Money goes in and it's never seen again, and nobody really knows where it goes. So I mean, he's done a lot. He's rebuilding the military, trying to. He gave them a raise for the first time, and God knows how long. We need to upgrade our warfighting equipment. Need to get, he has defeated ISIS. He has, well, not completely, but ISIS has been decimated. They've lost their caliphate. They've gone from like 30,000 fighters down to around 1,000 over there in the Middle East. They've lost all their land that they had commandeered. It's because Trump took the gloves off the military, allowed the military leaders on the ground to make decisions based on intel, and it took them less than a year to decimate that group when Obama, couldn't seem to do anything with them. Without, the military couldn't do anything without a special written permission from King Barry. Afghanistan, he retracted something he did promise to do. He wanted to pull troops out of Afghanistan. I was not in favor of that. I think we need to keep troops in Afghanistan. Otherwise, it just becomes another cesspool of terrorism. Unfortunately, we're probably going to have to stay there. We're going to have a presence there, because otherwise it turns into the quagmire Iraq turned into. We have to maintain a presence, and that, I know that kind of sucks. It does, but until Afghanistan can prove that they can take care of themselves, I don't see any kind of way that it can be avoided. He's trying to fix the VA hospitals, gotten a lot of that done. So he's restored a lot of the confidence in America. He's I don't know how you could dispute all the things he's been able to do without a whole hell of a lot of help from Congress. Now I went back and looked at a lot of the predictions right after he got elected. That was kind of funny to look at. Trump will resign by the year's end. Well, that didn't happen. He's still here. He hasn't resigned yet. Trump will he'll flee the U.S. and seek shelter in Ecuadorian embassy. That was one of the predictions they made, because he was going to be impeached and jailed. And these people are friggin' nuts. Trump will make infrastructure a high priority and earn him a speedy bipartisan win. No, he didn't do that. The first thing he went after was Obamacare. Didn't get it done. But with this mandate being repealed, I think we are going to get rid of Obamacare, and it needs to be gotten rid of. There needs to be a better way. I got friends on Obamacare, can't afford it. They can't afford to have procedures done because they don't have the money for the deductible. These people, Trump will accomplish nothing on taxes. That's one of the predictions. Well, he did. Trump may take over the Voice of America to disseminate propaganda because Trump is a fascist. Propaganda. No, he didn't do that. The failure to repeal Obamacare leaves Trump with Obama's health care policy. No, it didn't. We'll get it. He's going to get it repealed. I'm sure of that. All these pundits that said that Trump was going to be a colossal failure, he'd be out of office within a year, impeach Trump, blah, blah, blah. This Russian-Trump collusion thing is falling apart. There's more to come on that, and I'm sure we'll be talking about it here in the next week or two, next few weeks, because that's all coming to a head. The Hillary Clinton Foundation is now being reinvestigated. This uranium one thing is going to come to a head again. The FBI and FISA warrants and unmasking of civilians, all this stuff is coming out now. The house of cards is falling apart, and the swamp is slowly but surely getting cleaned. So hopefully we'll we'll get a government that we can finally be proud of, a government that we think, at least have confidence that isn't corrupt. So that's my 2 cents for today. Give me a call or give me a message or send me an email, m1ironmike@yahoo.com, or send me a Facebook message or comment, share, whatever. And then I'll see you next week. Talk to you later.